Here at the Giver Marketing Network, we don't leave you drifting out in space. We connect you to a coach who will help you build and grow your marketing business. Our process acts as a guide on how to connect with other businesses, maintain good relations, and establish a presence on the Giver Marketing Network. Each member within this collaborative group will have the opportunity to leverage your talent and influence, a true network effect. If you are looking to collaborate on more projects, welcome to the Giver Marketing Network, the most trusted and highest rated collective of specialists on the planet. Here we have a group of like-minded professionals who focus on making valuable introductions and helping each other grow by teaming up. Imagine Upwork meets a network and a coach. The talent collectively includes services like visibility and SEO, creating logos, designing websites, managing social media, outreach messaging, visual storytelling, and much more. Think of what you could do with laser-focused allies, strengthening your business while offering your talents to the entire network. Click near this video for more information.
Hello, hello. I am so excited today. Hi, Rich.
Good to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I snuck in the back door, actually. So.
Well, I'm glad you're here. This is a Giver Marketing Tuesday marketing broadcast, and we always have somebody fun on who's going to share their expertise with us. In fact, we're broadcasting live right now to Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube and all those places. So, hey, y'all, all of our Giver Marketing fans, glad you're here. And Rich, what are we talking about today?
We're talking about not being boring. And it's entitled Boring Stories Are Killing Your Brand. And the question is your brand living and growing, or is it slowly dying?
Oh, I love this topic. I'm all about the fun. So, I can't help but wonder, Rich, how did you get started down this path?
Well, I've always loved filmmaking. I mean, as a kid, I watched movies, and I was always fascinated with how they tell the stories and stuff like that. And I spent the last 20 years in the fitness industry telling stories with Gold Gym International. About 8 years ago, I left that and transitioned to a very boring company that sells RV parts. And it's like, how do you tell a story about RV parts? Let's be honest, it's not like a sexy product like fitness. And so I've really learned to craft my skills over the last 8 years, and I was able to actually more than double our company's revenue over the last 8 years. And some of the things I'd love to share with the audience today is, how can I do that as a business owner, whoever's watching? Like, how can I grow my revenue? How can I not be boring on camera? And what are some tips to help you get there? So I'm hoping to add some value to people today.
Yeah, what a great topic, Carlo. When you think about it, some people have businesses. You're like, I have widgets, I have tools. I don't even know where to start on this. And how in the world do you manage to make that fascinating for 8 years? Blows me away. I was like, oh, that's a challenge. I don't know if I could last even 3 months in that, trying to take something that was kind of boring and then make it fun. I could picture, something making its journey. This is where it starts. This is where it was born. Right? I mean, I don't know what else I would do with it, Rich. Hats off to you, man. I'm just saying.
Well, let me just tell you that, this has to do with, like my shirt says, your message matters. And I met the owner of the RV company at a business gathering, right? It was called C12, and Timothy Morgan in the Giver Market. I met him there too. But I listened to this man talk about his life and what he was passionate about. And I said, listen, I don't know nothing about RVs, but I love the way this guy is passionate. I love his giving heart and that what he's doing to help people in the community, hundreds and hundreds of 5-star reviews. And I said, listen, I can learn about RVs. And I want to partner with somebody that has that passion and that integrity and that tenacity. So I learned about RVs, but what got me in was not the cool steering and suspension parts. It was his message and the way he told his story.
Oh, well said, Rich. Well said. Maybe you're going to leave some hope for somebody who gets those boring topics, right?
I hope so.
Thank goodness. Well, how about I pull up the slides? I know you've got some prepared for us tonight. There we go.
Yeah. All right. So this is a really simple title. Boring stories are killing your brand. And the question is, like I said earlier, is your brand growing or is it dying? Because last time I checked, there's no pause in life, right? You can't just pause And our business is much the same way. And, you know, it's difficult. And so I hope today to give you guys some tips. So here's my table of content that I'm going to deliver to you today. I'm going to talk about don't be boring. Why does your story matter? The power of video. How do you craft a compelling narrative? And then practically perfect tips. I said practically because they're not exactly perfect, but they're practically pretty good. And then the last thing is, I don't know about you, but some people in life are like, they're ready, aim. They never pull the trigger on stuff. So they learn some stuff, but then they don't actually pull the trigger on it. So maybe I'm going to give you a little call to action at the end, and maybe you'll pull the trigger. All right. You ready to dig in?
All right. I'm ready. Let's do it. Let's see.
All right. The first thing is don't be boring. Now that just sounds super simple. And some of us think maybe we're not boring, but it's amazing. Like the place that I work at, I have technicians who are super smart. I mean, they can tell you everything about your RV, but for some reason, when I pull that camera up and that little red button flashes at them, they like turn into a zombie. I'm like, you were just telling me everything. If you could just not know that there's a camera, you would be amazing. And it's like they run away from you. Oh, shoot, Rich is coming with the camera. So the problem is that some people don't realize they're boring. They have all this great knowledge, but man, the delivery of that knowledge is like, oh my gosh, I'm going to fall asleep. Like I cannot watch this video. And the problem is that if you think about a YouTube short or videos and stuff like that, I mean, just think about your phone. How many times do you see a pop-up ad? Skip, like scroll past. I'm sick of that. Well, they're getting thousands and inundated with thousands of ads every day, and we've become numb to it. And so if you're boring, unfortunately, they're going to scroll right past you. And so you have to actually ask yourself, am I being boring? And if you don't know, I promise you, if you let someone else see your content, they'll be honest with you. So that's the first thing. Don't be boring. And so once you figure out, okay, I'm boring, how do I step that up? Your storytelling matters. Now, when I record people at the shop, I say, listen, I want you to overact as much as possible. And when you feel like you're just being totally fake and not real, you're just about perfect. Because it feels weird. It feels weird to like be overly out there and stuff like that. And I'm not asking you to not be who you are. I'm just asking you to be your best self.
Just dial it up a notch, right?
Yep. So the reason why storytelling matters is stories tell an emotional connection. You want to create a connection with someone. And the way the algorithm is right now, especially like on YouTube, if you're not connecting with if your title, your thumbnail, and your content look at that. I just created some stuff. I didn't know that I did that. That's crazy.
And if your fireworks aren't good enough,
you got to create some fireworks when you're doing it. That's all that matters. So your thumbnail and the content that you say in the first like 10 seconds, if it does not all work synergistically together, the algorithm will suppress you. So telling a good story is really important, but you got to tell it in such a way that grabs them right away. Don't wait too long to get to it. And I'm going to give you some examples of stories that really grab people. But that's the thing that you need to think about. People, unfortunately, when they create videos, they're like, well, what should I create? Let's create a video about this, but they don't do any research on what are people looking for right now. Like, if you Google something or you YouTube it, how many views are on this subject and that subject? So you want to craft a story way before you click record on that camera, or you're just wasting your time and you wonder why you don't get any views. So you need to brainstorm it and work with your team to create a powerful, compelling story. And I mean, right now, everybody, I mean, let me ask you, Christine, like just off the top of your head, what is like your most favorite movie of all time?
No pressure.
And by the way, you guys, I never even asked her this question, so it's like literally.
I'm going to say, well, me, I'm in Texas, so the South, Gone with the Wind.
Okay, wow, that's a long one. And let me ask you, what's the catchphrase that got everybody all up in arms in the movie Gone with the Wind?
That's the frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn, right?
Yeah, because now that's the funny thing about that. They did something different, right? And of course, they broke the mold and stuff like that. But it is famous for that line. Rhett, what's his name? Rhett Butler. Yeah, he said that, and it was awesome. So that's a great movie. So you love the story. Now that's a long movie, right? That's super long.
Super long.
But for you, it made sense. And so I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and
Yes.
I love Star Wars. And I love the story, and let's not get into it. But the older ones almost are better than the new ones. But the point is that they tell a compelling story. And so you have to really think about, what is my compelling story? So that story definitely matters. And so let's talk a little bit about the power of video, because you can tell your story through blogs, you can tell your story through emails, you can tell your story through chat. You can tell your story in so many ways. But why video? Why is video important? And people today would rather watch a video than read. And so not too long ago, Timothy from the Giver Marketing Network, he said, "Hey, can you help me tell my story?" And so if you want, we could play his video and listen to him and how he tells his story.
We totally can. Let me see. I'll pull that up and and here it is. All right, here we go.
If you're leading a cause or a company doing good in the world, just like in music, success depends on harmony. Every moment, every instrument, every piece needs to be in sync.
But too often, businesses struggle to find the right players, leaving them with a sound or a strategy that just doesn't work. I've worked with thousands of businesses, and I saw the same problem repeatedly. Companies knew they needed marketing, but they didn't have the right people, processes, or support system to execute their vision. They were trying to do it all alone. At the same time, I met talented marketing professionals, freelancers, strategists, consultants who were incredible at what they did, but lacked a team and a community to work with. They were lonelypreneurs. That's why we created the Giver Marketing Network, a collective of marketing, communication, and media professionals who partner with business owners to create seamless, effective marketing solutions. We discovered a repeatable process that consistently brings success. First, get your branding right. Then increase your visibility. Next, implement promotion strategies. And finally, nurture the people who engage with your brand. Helping businesses grow is excellent, but do you know what's even better? The knowledge that growth positively impacts lives. That's why we focus on working with socially conscious businesses, nonprofits, and mission-driven organizations. Because it's not just about helping companies double or triple their revenue. It's about knowing our work together makes more than an income. It makes an impact. Think of us kind of like an orchestra conductor. We don't just find you any marketer. We connect you with the right people for the right roles. Experts in branding, digital marketing, media production, and more. So instead of hiring random freelancers, you get a strategic, well-matched team.
If you're an organizational leader needing marketing, communication, media support, or a skilled professional tired of working alone, let's connect. Click somewhere near this video and let's start building something together.
Yeah. Timothy is such a great guy. I met him in C12, the same place where I discovered my job with steering suspension. And I think what the Giver Marketing Network does is great. But that video, we collaborated, like, how do we tell the story? And we came up with the whole orchestra, how we bring in different people that are experts and stuff. And that was something that we crafted and we worked together and tried to tell his story. So it was good.
That was amazing, Rich. I gotta say, I am so impressed.
Thank you.
Right? When you can put it all together, right? And you brought the story with us and you gave us something we can compare it to, something we can follow along with, right? And the drama, the intrigue, sitting on the edge of my seat, Rich. Well done. Thank you.
And that's just one example. I want to take you guys back, because I assume that's everybody's in here. We're all trying to grow our businesses, and how do we grab that engagement? And there's a lot of ways to do it, but there's a video I'm going to bring back from like 15 years old, and it still impacts me. And I want to play this for you guys. If I can click the play button. There we go.
What's your deal, man?
Oh, come on, man. You've been riding me all day.
Mike, you're playing like Betty White out there.
That's not what your girlfriend said.
Baby.
Whoa.
Eat a Snickers. Better?
Better. I'm all bet. That hurt.
You're not you when you're hungry. Snickers satisfies.
Oh my goodness.
Gosh. Whoa. Sorry about that. It's still playing. Oh my gosh. I still laugh at that. That video is 15 years old.
Oh my goodness.
But it just tells us
still funny.
It's funny. It tells the story. It says, hey, I'm hungry. I'm not myself when I'm hungry. I'm Betty White. And you cannot walk away from that and not be impacted by the humor and by the storytelling. And that's not that everything has to be funny, but it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt at all. I mean, you think about Geico commercials and Liberty, all these ones, they do it for a reason. It grabs a person's psyche and it helps keep it in your brain. So the question is, how can you tell a story that grabs people's attention? And so I'm going to give you an example of one that we did. And this is a video that I worked with Tommy, the owner. And before I play this, you have to understand, Tommy is an engineer. And let's be honest, engineers are not funny for the most part. They're dry as can be. And so we maximize. I didn't try to change Tommy. I said, you are who you are. Let's tell your story in the best way we can with your personality. And I'll let you be the judge if this has humor in it. And it grabs people.
We're here at Henderson's lineup with warm coffee, expert technicians.
Okay, there we go.
Uh-oh. I think you lost your sound though.
Oh, what happened? Can we back up and then try again? I guess maybe.
So you got to back it up because you're in charge.
Okay, and then I'm pressing play. I don't know if we
got the sound or not. Let's see what happens.
Oh, it was playing.
It was playing, but I don't hear it.
Okay, maybe leave it and then come back. Maybe it'll work then. Sorry, guys. See, nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah, this is what happens when you broadcast live. You just never know what might happen.
All right.
You can always close it and reopen it, and we can try it again if you want.
Oh, but did you change it?
No, I can't. I just put on and off the screen. You're in charge. You were the master controller.
Oh, but I didn't click it to get it to start. So how did you get it to work?
Probably just automatically started.
Oh no, this is my example.
Well, so do you want to close it and reopen it and then upload it again?
Okay, yeah, let me do that.
We can do that.
Okay, sorry guys, I'm doing it right now. Give me like 5 seconds. Here's the video. I'm uploading it. It's in.
All right,
I'm not
are you
gonna touch
ready?
it. Yep.
All right, here we go.
Winter in Southern Oregon. The rain, the wind, the will I or won't I get pushed into the next lane drama. Beautiful, isn't it? Guess what? While you're shivering in your motorhome trying to convince yourself that this is cozy, we're here at Henderson's lineup with warm coffee, expert technicians, and the best time of year to upgrade your rig. Good. Why? Because unlike summer, when we're booked solid and your RV's on a waiting list longer than a DMV line, winter is the time. We've got availability to fit you in and give your RV the attention it deserves. Think of it as off-season training for your RV. It's the perfect time to upgrade your suspension, fine-tune your steering, or install that fancy new sway bar you've been dreaming about. Come summer, your RV will glide down the highway so smooth, you'll feel like you're driving on a cloud. Well, a sturdy, well-balanced cloud. And here's the kicker. 10% off labor during our slow season. While everyone else is waiting for summer to panic fix their RV, you're saving money and skipping the stress. Genius, right? Let's face it. What else are you gonna do this winter? Stand outside in the rain and argue about whose turn it was to cover the RV? Or worse, drive it in the rain and hope the wind doesn't push you into next Tuesday? Get your upgrades done now, so when the summer sun finally makes its grand entrance, you're ready for the open road. No sway, no shimmy, no stress. So come on down to Henderson's lineup this winter. We've got the time, the discounts, and the expertise to get your RV ready for whatever adventures await. And hey, at least if it's raining sideways outside, You'll be warm inside.
That's it.
Oh
So
my
it-
goodness. I can't believe it. You made that fun.
Yeah. And
You're
it's
brilliant, Rich. I'm just saying.
oh, I'm not brilliant. I just have good collaboration with people, but I let Tommy be who he is, and that's going to the next slide. If we can go to that one,
We can pull the slides back up. Here we go.
All right. So again, getting back to the power video, one of the other videos I was going to talk about was the Old Spice video. This thing has over 65 million views. Smell like a man. And it's again, it's like 10 or 15 years old, but it still rings true at grabbing people's attention. So you want to grab people's attention, craft compelling narratives. And the practical tip I would have for you is just be authentically yourself. Use humor, but don't use it in a way that makes you feel that you're not being who you are. People really, they can detect that. In fact, and this is going to go against myself, unfortunately, but the more polished your video is, the less relatable some people feel. I mean, if you just grab a cell phone and you just talk to your audience, it doesn't have to be perfect lighting and all that. I think people would rather have being authentic than anything else. And so you don't need to hire a big old professional crew. You might need some guidance on how you can tell your story, but that doesn't mean you have to buy yourself a $5,000 camera and all the perfect lights and all this kind of stuff. I think authenticity is way more important. And you want to just engage them emotionally at their level, because everybody listens to one radio station with them. You ever heard of it? WITFM. What's in it for me? So they don't care about your story. Like, I've been in business since 1961. We're the best people. We have thousands of 5-star reviews. All that's important, but it is not the first thing people want to know. They want to know, what's in it for me? Why should I engage with you? And so if you can think about that, that's important. My dad used to be a salesman, and he used to say this little rhyme. If you can see John Smith through John Smith eyes, you'll sell John Smith with John Smith buys. So you have to never forget who your customer is. Never forget what do they think about your brand? What do they think about your story? So the practical tips I have for you is remember that. And here's a couple things you can do to immediately get good content. Tell a story about how you impacted someone else's life. What service did you provide? Not just, hey, I'm really good at this and I really did that and I did this thing. No. Tell a story, the hero's journey, about how their life was like before they found you. And then they had that pivotal moment where I did all this research and this happened. And then I found this person and here's what they did for me and they changed it. And here's how now my life is different. People want to hear stories like that. So that would be the first thing I would tell you. Tell testimonials. Another thing you could do is just like we were doing this broadcast. I messed up over here and I did that. That's kind of like the behind the scenes stuff. People want to feel the reality. Like, here's something I really totally screwed up on. I can't believe it. I lost a bunch of money, or I did this and I ruined the client. People like, oh, okay, this person's human. They actually, they're not perfect. And that's really, really, really important things. And I kind of like that stuff, the raw authenticity. And think about what kind of brand you want. Like I just said, that Tommy's an engineer type. So I didn't try to make him tell jokes, right? I used his strength in a way that made sense. And so what are your strengths? What can you bring to the table? What makes you you? And how can you tell your story and that in a way that your customers will gravitate to you? Because there's one great thing about being yourself. Nobody else is you. So always be your best version of who you are. So that's some of my practical tips. Do you have any questions or anything you want to add to that, Christine?
Well, I was just thinking about how everybody's always so worried about being perfect.
Yeah.
Right. And perfect's boring. You don't remember perfect, right? Well, we had dinner. It was perfect.
Yeah.
And then you forgot it, right? I mean, but if you're like, oh my goodness, and then we were out to dinner and they went to make the apple pie and they put this frozen piece on the flaming thing and they served me frozen apple pie, right? That I will always remember, right? So when things don't go
That's
perfect,
funny.
it actually stands out in people's minds more often than when it doesn't, right? So don't stress on the be perfect thing.
Yeah.
Like you said, focus on being authentically you.
Yep. Exactly. And your brand has a unique personality of its own. And there's a really great article. This is another tip. I didn't even think about this until just now, but there's a really great article called 1,000 True Fans. Have you ever heard of it?
Oh, no, I don't know that one. Tell us more.
So this blew my mind. I mean, on YouTube, everybody's trying to get 1 million views or 100,000 subscribers and all this kind of stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that. But here, I'll ask you this question. If you had 1,000 people, right? And all of them wanted to hear your story, and they only paid you $100 a year to hear that story. That's $100,000 a year you would make. Now, do you think out of the billions of people on the planet, if you were truly your authentic self and you just told your story the way, do you think you could find 1,000 people that would actually resonate with your story? You don't need 1 million views. You don't need 100,000 subscribers. You need to be you, and the people will gravitate to you because here's another quote: the riches are in the niches. Be yourself. And so the article is called 1,000 True Fans, and it really lays this out on why does that make sense? And it helps people shift their mindset instead of having all this stuff. Just focus on who you are. And if you only had 1,000 people, you could easily make $100,000 a year just being you. And how great would that be?
Right. I always say gather your tribe. Right.
Yes,
so if you're authentically you, now you're attracting the people that are attracted to you, which means you're in the right flow, right? If you're pretending to be someone else, now who are you attracting? People that aren't a good fit for you. So what good does that do you, right? Now you're surrounded by people that you don't even want to talk to. Just saying.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. I'm going to remember that. Gather your tribe.
Gather your tribe. Absolutely. There's so many practical tips to take away with this. We love the video, right? Video can be so much fun. And so what if they're thinking, but I'm not good with video. I don't know how to edit video. What do they do?
That's a great tip. So I'm gonna tell Timothy Morgan's secret. Okay. In Timothy Morgan's video, he only filmed the beginning and the end. The rest of it, I created an AI voice of him. And he didn't have to memorize anything. Another thing is, I hope he doesn't mind this, but he was reading his script off the side, and AI technology moved his eyes to the camera. So you don't have to be perfect. In fact, if anything, I think, again, going back to being your authentic self, everybody at my shop hates the video, but there's a way to do it in a way that's not intimidating. You can chunk your videos down every 20 seconds and just film those parts. And so that would be my thing. My tip my final tip would be is these people in this video, like if you look at the bad Fox Shocks guy, he didn't want to do the video, right? The girl in the top left corner, what is your GVRW? Which, by the way, is not goats viewing wild rabbits, because that's what what's GVWR? I don't understand. It stands for gross vehicle weight rating. But how do you make something like that fun? And that girl's name's Kieran. She did not want to do the video. So I said, hey,
I remember having to look that up. So yeah, sometimes you have very specific terms within your industry that sometimes people need to know. How do you make that fun?
Yeah. So for her to make it easy, I said, hey, listen, don't stress about you got 4 minutes of content. Let's just talk about something for like 20 or 30 seconds. And that's how you can do it. So there's a lot of, if you feel uncomfortable, there's a lot of great tools that are at your disposal. I mean, the future of AI is amazing if used rightly. I mean, I would say AI is kind of like a chainsaw. Yeah, you could cut your leg off with a chainsaw, but that's not what it was designed for. And if you ask me to chop down a tree, I would prefer to use a chainsaw versus the little hatchet, chop, 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 chop. So tools are great, and you just need to learn how to use them. And so there's definitely a lot of tools out there. And I guess if you need any help with those, finding those tools, I definitely could be available for that.
That's awesome. There's so many tools to choose from, right? AI has just exploded and there's so many options now. It's kind of hard to decide what to use. So sometimes this is where it helps to have a marketer, at your beck and call, by phone call away and email away, right? Because you can ask those kind of questions. Okay, this is what I want to do. How do I get there, right? This is where coaching can come in handy, learning those new skills, because there's so many choices on the market. How do you decide what's best for you?
Yeah.
Right? Reach out to those experts. We've got a bunch of them at Giver Marketing. Rich is one of them, right? Reach out if you've got those questions and give them a holler.
Yep. So that'll be my last video. This is my family. So if it's okay, I could just end with this, is that, I've been making money for Gold's Gym and the company I'm with. I love them to death, but I'm exploring, thanks to Timothy Morgan and stuff, I'm exploring launching my own and turning my employment into a client. And I love video. I love creating content. And on my shirt, my company is called Masterminded Media. And your message matters. It matters. It matters for two reasons. One is it's super important. Your message matters because if it's something that you're passionate about, that it matters. But it also matters how you tell that story. So your message matters from how do I deliver it? Because if something's super important to you, but you don't deliver it in a way that other person can see your passion and understand your passion, they're never going to engage with you. And so it's really important to tell and craft your story in a way and not be boring, or you're going to kill your brand.
Absolutely. You think about people that are nervous getting on, right? A lot of times it's because we're talking to ourselves, right? Like if you were doing this broadcast completely by yourself and I wasn't here to talk to, you'd be like,
I wouldn't have a good time. You're a great host. So
right? You're talking to the screen and you're like, there's nobody laughing with me. I'm the only one laughing. I mean, just right. There's something weird about being in a room by yourself, talking to yourself, right? So
exactly.
I always say, get someone else with you, even if you have your laptop open, right? You're recording here, and have your friend sit on the other side, right? So you can pretend that you're talking to them the whole time, right?
There you go.
Or have two people on screen, right? So you can just edit part of them out, right? And just crop it and leave you on the screen and just have that part, right? So there's so many different ways to do it. Just like you said, you just got to do it, right?
Yeah, not ready, aim. No, you got to pull the trigger at some point.
Right. So the best advice we have for somebody who's been thinking about doing video, maybe they've kind of dabbled in it, but then they were too nervous to put it up. What should they start with? What's a good way to get started on video?
You know what? You could just record for yourself, recording for your own self, and say somebody that you love and that you trust, say, hey, would you please watch this and tell me how I could be better? And if in that safe space, you can get a lot of great feedback initially. So you don't have to put it out for the whole world and be embarrassed. I'll just tell you this. I'm really great at video, but I'm horrible at copy. And I just got employed at this company that I work with 8 years ago. And the first piece that I produced was how we have quality parts. And we're at this big meeting and they said, hey, here's what Rich just produced. And it says, we have quality parts. I spelled quality wrong. 8 years later, they still bring it up.
I was going to say, I could see you put that on the screen and then like, wait a minute, scratch it out, rewrite it the right way, put that up. Got it.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So work with some trusted people before you put it out into the entire world and get embarrassed like me.
It happens. It's been known to happen. Typos happen, right? Hopefully it ends up. And I'm famous for typos, so I always need a second set of eyes. Okay, look at this. Make sure you're okay. Make sure.
I definitely have someone like you check my work now.
You need to. You really do. I mean, those little typos just, I always say I need spell check for fingertips. When they come out with that, man, I am on it, right?
Nice.
I was just thinking of something else. We were talking about where to get started. I had a client one time that was having they really wanted to do video. They knew they should do it outside facing, like their pages and out in social, but they were so nervous, right? I'm like, you look great. You don't even look nervous. You always find the people that say they're really nervous and they never look nervous. And like,
yeah.
How's that happen, right?
I think they have the Hollywood actor embedded somewhere in their body.
You just got to pull them out, right? So she was really feeling anxious about it. And I said, well, why don't you start going live in your group? So she had a Facebook group, right? So she started going live in there. It took a while, I'd say about a year. Then she was finally like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to post it on the page. I'm like, you have all this content you've been creating in your group. Why don't you just pick some of those, edit those a little bit, and put them on the front end?
There you go.
Like,
Yeah.
Right. She had stuff
That's a
she
great
could pull
idea.
out. Right. So even if you start small, like you said, with an audience of one, somebody that you trust, whose opinion you value, right? Maybe it's a smaller audience because you've got a group that you want to do it in, right? And then slowly bring it to your business page. And then from there, the sky's the limit. Watch out.
I'll tell you another real quick quick thing you can do. Let's say you really want to do video, but you don't want your face on there. Well, AI can clone your voice so it sounds like you, and it'll read your text for you, and you can kind of work with it and stuff like that. But it's another great way. Maybe you only have enough bravery to do 20 seconds at the beginning, but you want a longer video. So start that's exactly what Timothy Morgan did. He started it and he bookended it. And I created all the content in the middle. So there's so many different ways to do that. And you and I were talking before this, like my best friend is ChatGPT. Like it'll give you a lot of great ideas. If you kind of have to comb through it. It's not perfect, but it definitely can help you that. And so that's what I would do. I would ask it questions like, here's my problem. Give me some ideas on how I can do this, that, or the other thing. And it'll definitely help you out.
Absolutely. I use it for brainstorming a lot, right?
Yeah.
Want to kind of get those juices flowing. And I know if you are trying something new, like you haven't done video before, maybe you can give us some ideas. This is my business. What kinds of things could I talk about? Right. And just get your, right. And then you can start running with it. But sometimes we just need help, especially for me at the end of the day. My creativity is shot. I've already used it all. By the time you catch me at the end of the day, you want me to be creative? We got a problem. Let me pull up some AI and start working there, because otherwise it can be really tough. And some people, like you said, are they boring? Well, maybe they're just the creative side isn't sparked as much. Right?
Well, yeah, I love it. I was going to say it's like a fire starter. I just need a spark to get it going, and then I can take it from there. And so, yeah, definitely a good fire starter.
Fire starting is a good thing when it comes to creativity and not being boring. Wow, you've given us so much information today, Rich, and just a wealth of knowledge, because I know a lot of people have been intimidated with the idea of doing video, or they're not quite sure if they're doing it right. So hopefully everybody walked away with some great tips on how to change things up a little bit and start enjoying marketing. Marketing should be fun. If you're not having fun making it, the other people viewing it probably aren't having fun either. I'm just saying.
That is true. That is true.
So if they want to reach out to you, the best way for them to reach out to you?
Currently, I'm building my website. I actually own the domain, mastermindedmedia.com. I'm in the process of building that. And so you can reach me through the Giver Marketing Network inside. And then also you can reach me at bemasterminded@gmail.com. It will eventually be rich@mastermindedmedia.com. I'm just not there yet. So
we're not there yet, but soon, right? We're working on it one little step at a time. Anybody's ever built a business, you got to start somewhere, right? And start that journey. And it's an exciting ride. The ups, the downs, the life of the entrepreneur and business owner, but it's exciting.
Well, I'll just say this one thing, because I got the picture of these two girls up there. So the girl in the middle is my daughter, and my wife. She's the biggest support. And, starting your own business and stuff like that, you really need that support system and stuff like that. And so I'm blessed to have an amazing support system. And if you're doing your own business and stuff like that, make sure you get a support system. If it's not a spouse, it's a trusted friend, a colleague. I'm sure there's plenty of people, right, Christine, in the marketing network that will be that support for people. So I'm thankful that I have a support system.
Oh, that was so sweet. I don't think we could end this any better than that, Rich.
Perfect. Kick me out the door. I'm the one who snuck in the back door anyway. So.
I want to say thank you again for being on the Giver Marketing broadcast and sharing your knowledge with all of our audience. Reach out to Rich if you have any questions. Obviously, you've seen some of the work he's done for Giver Marketing. Brilliant, right? Let alone the other clients he's worked with. So if you've been thinking about trying it and you're thinking, I don't want to do it myself, give Rich a holler. Maybe he can fit you into his busy schedule. And that's an opportunity you don't want to miss out on before he gets so busy opening his new business that he just doesn't have time for you, right? So I also would be remiss if I didn't remind everybody that we have our networking for marketers. It's PR, media specialists. So don't be a lonelypreneur. Come hang out with us on Wednesdays. That's 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern. And if you go to givermarketing.com/networking, you can register once, save it on your calendar, come hang out with me, because that's where I am on Wednesdays. And that's where I run that group. And it's a no cost. Everybody's invited. Don't be a lonelypreneur. Come hang out with more marketers. And we will see you again soon. See you next week for our Tuesday Marketing Podcast.